Good morning, guys. It's the last day of virtual summer camp, so I'm glad you guys were able to make it. While we're waiting, so we're gonna wait for a few more people, just like we do every morning. Go ahead and put, let's see, what your favorite sport is. Mine is soccer. So I grew up playing soccer since I was like 5. So all the way up until high school, and I played a little bit in college, but not professionally, just like intramurals with friends and stuff like that, indoor soccer. Let's see, baseball. I used to play t-ball, but my parents told me that I would get bored and pick grass because I'd be on the outfield, so that's when they switched me over to soccer. And then I played football in college. That was fun. I didn't really know all the rules, but I still had fun with it. It's really fun to watch. I watch college and NFL all the time. Jiu-jitsu, that one's pretty cool. Jiu-jitsu. I always wanted to learn like a martial art, but never did.
I'm really sad no one's saying basketball because that's my favorite sport.
So the question was, what is your favorite sport? Softball, football, soccer, basketball. That's cool. You like all of them. That's a good answer. I'm honestly the worst at basketball. I cannot, I don't know, for some reason I can't catch the ball when they throw it at me. I can't shoot it in the hoop. I just
Oh no.
that's probably my worst sport. I'm well rounded overall. I can play almost every sport if like we're playing with friends and stuff. But basketball, I'd rather just stay on the side. I'd rather be water boy for that sport.
Ever played Ultimate Frisbee?
Yeah, that one's fun.
Fun.
I can catch a frisbee better than I can catch a basketball.
Cheerleading and gymnastics. I took gymnastics once. I got a back handspring and then I quit. And then I forgot how to.
Your least favorite sport is baseball. Thank you, love. My wife walked all the way down to Tater Nut to get me some coffee. She's awesome.
Oh, wow.
She is awesome. Okay, so we're gonna get started today with our last lesson, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll be doing this, I don't know, sometime soon. I'd rather be working in person, but virtual summer camp has been fun. It's a little bit less nerve-wracking when a bunch of kids are not talking to you at the same time. But they're both fun, virtual and actual being in person. So today we're going to talk about meteorology. So before we do that, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Riley. I am one of the marine educators at the MEC. I started working last August. It's been almost a year. And with me today, I have Lacey. She's going to help me out.
Yeah, so my name is Lacey. I started right when Riley started, so we've been working together and learning all these really fun things together. And so I am going to be behind the scenes, so you will not be seeing my face, but you may hear my voice every now and then. So now you won't see my face. So I'm gonna go dark.
Cool. All right. So, like I said, we're going to talk about meteorology. We're going to talk about the rain cycle, cloud formation, rainbows, all that cool stuff. So let me start off by sharing my screen. Okay, so this is a little bit different format than my previous presentations. So again, my wife is a teacher, so she taught me how to use this thing called Prezi. I'd never used it before. I'm really old school and use PowerPoint, but this presentation I think is pretty cool. So we're gonna get started with this one. It does take a little bit longer to load, so bear with me. While we get this started. Okay, here we go. Awesome. So meteorology. So we're gonna pull up the first poll question. Whenever you get the chance, Lacey. Thank you, thank you. So, what is meteorology? We have study of plants, study of animals, study of weather, study of meteors, study of food. Do your best to answer this question. If you don't know the answer, then we are gonna teach you all about it. Awesome. So the majority of you guys chose study of weather. So you guys are absolutely right. We're going to be talking all about weather today. So meteorology, what is it? Meteorology is the study of weather and its patterns. So weather patterns are always changing, so studying them can be really interesting. Think about the different patterns you have witnessed recently. It may be snow, rain, or even a hurricane. So we've gotten a few of those things. We've gotten lots of rain recently. It's been really, really humid, so that has a lot to do with weather. And we've had not a hurricane itself, but a really, really strong storm that came through. All these are examples of weather patterns and have a cause. For example, the water cycle allows the earth to produce rain. It's a continuous cycle that produces rain. Fun fact, did you know that meteorologists typically earn $100,000 a year? That's about 28,000 McDonald's Happy Meals. So I'm always thinking about food, so that's where the correlation comes. Who uses meteorology? Scientists called meteorologists, I know that's a mouthful, use meteorology to predict weather in the atmosphere. So we'll talk about the atmosphere a little later. The atmosphere is the gas layer that surrounds the Earth. Meteorology uses science to predict and observe the world's weather. There are many jobs that involve meteorology. Whether you work for NASA and study weather patterns through satellites, or you work for the local weather channel, you could study meteorology as well. Another fun fact. So, did you know that Christopher Columbus, the explorer who founded America, they came all the way from Europe. They were one of the first meteorologists. He was the first to record what was thought to be a hurricane. So, up in Europe, hurricanes are not very common. But whenever he came to America, he noticed that it was a reoccurring thing, especially during hurricane season. Right now would be basically the about the middle of hurricane season, I would say. How can it help me? So meteorologist helps me know when the weather in the future and to keep me safe. Sorry about that. If a storm is coming my way, meteorologists will let me know through TV and radio. If the winds are too strong for me to sail my boat, meteorologists will let me know. And if there's a hurricane coming, they'll also let me know so that way I can evacuate and keep safe. So there's lots of reasons why meteorologists are super important. If we couldn't predict the weather, then a lot of stuff would be more complicated. So if you took your boat out into the ocean and you didn't know whether the weather was going to be good or not, it might be a sunny day in the morning, but you probably didn't know that there's going to be strong winds and high waves later on in the day, and eventually you can get stranded out in sea, or or you could run out of gas trying to push your way back to the shore, or many other things. If you hear that a hurricane is coming, you have a couple days to prepare for it. You have a couple days to either protect your home, so reinforce your home, or you have a few days to evacuate. So if you have family members in other parts of the United States where the hurricane isn't going to be affected, you can evacuate or stay somewhere else to be safe. So there's lots of reasons why studying meteorology is a good thing. So what are the different types of weather? So we have rainy or sunny. Outside today, it's really overcast. It hasn't started to rain today. Overcast means basically that there's lots of clouds in the sky. The sky is really gray. Right now, I was cutting my lawn and I couldn't really see the sun, so really thick clouds out there today. Whether it's dry or wet, by that is just the humidity in the air. We're fortunate enough to live in the South where it's super, super humid. Right now, I'm inside. I just took a nice cold shower and I'm sweating, or it feels like I'm sweating. It feels like I'm really, really like sticky almost. And that's just the humidity in the air. You can see it on your car windows. You can see it if you bring your phone outside that immediately fogs up. Um, that's really, really high humidity. But if you go over to the West Coast, like Arizona, Nevada, California, it's really dry weather over there. And you can really feel the difference. If you come from a state where it's super, super humid and you go to a state where it's super, super dry, you can definitely feel it in the air. Then we have cold or hot and windy or fair. So fair weather just means that it's really still out. If you go to, let's say, East Beach, or you go to the Biloxi Beach, the water isn't really choppy, which means like there's not a lot of waves, there's not a lot of wind. So it's really calm and still. That would be fair weather. So is meteorology related to weather? Of course, meteorology studies layers in the atmosphere that cause weather change. So the Earth has an atmosphere, which is basically um, just a basically just gases in the air. And if you pass that, that's when you reach space. So there's no gases out there in the Earth. What causes weather change? So weather is changed through interaction between Earth's land, air, and water. So we have lots of air currents. We have air currents that are in the US. We have air currents that are global, and the same thing with water. So we have water currents that are very local. So if we found, like, let's say in the Gulf of Mexico, and then we'll also have water currents that go all around the Pacific Ocean, all around the Atlantic Ocean. And those, whenever they interact with each other, so the water currents and the um, air currents and all those things, as well as the moon cycles, those have a lot to do with it, with the tides. They all interact with each other and they make different types of weather. Okay, so here are examples of different types of weather. So we're familiar with all of these, but we are going to go over these just so you guys have a better idea of what I'm talking about. So we have sunny weather, cloudy. So today would be really, really cloudy, partly cloudy, rainy. We have snowy. So it's not, snow is not common where we live. I think I've been here 6 years and it snowed on the coast 2 years, I think, 2 years of the six that I've been here. And it was really, really light snow. I mean, not even an inch, but it's still really cool to see, especially when it's, it's always hot here and we don't see snow. Then we have sleet. So sleet is basically like slushy form. So have you ever gotten like an icy? And have you ever like I don't know, dropped it on the floor or you've swirled your straw in it? That's basically like a sleet formation. So it's really wet snow. And then we have stormy. It's stormy a lot here in the south. Lightning and thunder. So lightning is what you see. So first you see lightning, so that's like the big flash, and then you hear the thunder. So the thunder is the really loud rumble. Then we have hail. So hail is super interesting because it's really rare. It's really rare to see. It's basically giant ice cubes falling from the sky. So they are dangerous if you are in an area where it's hailing, because imagine if like a golf ball flew from the sky and hit you in the head. That would be super painful. So hail is one of those things where it's very dangerous to be outside when it's happening. So try to avoid those areas. We can have windy weather or foggy weather. So foggy weather is one of my favorite types of weather. A lot of people don't like them. I mean, I personally don't like them if you're driving on the highway and it's really dark. It's kind of scary like that. But if there's fog around my house, I think it's really neat. I really like it. It kind of has like a Scooby Doo feeling to it. So I really like it. And then we have icy weather, which is very dangerous to drive whenever it's super icy, because the roads will look wet. The roads will look, fine, like it just rained. But what happens a lot of the time is it rains and temperature drops through the night, and that wet concrete or that wet asphalt, or wherever you're driving, basically freezes up. And then that happens multiple times, and the ice gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and eventually it's too slippery. So your tires don't have enough traction, and you can get into an accident. So whenever it's really icy, especially up there in the north, my parents lived in Alaska for a while, and driving in the icy roads, I mean, our cars would slide, and they had like special tires for that. So it was really scary to do. If you're in like a big parking lot and you were sliding around, you could probably stop yourself and kind of get out of there. But if you're on a one-way street, it's really, really scary to drive on these icy roads. Then we have tornadoes. Those are common in the South. We've had a few incidents of tornadoes, especially in northern parts of Alabama, Mississippi. Not super common in the Gulf, but they still can be a thing. They still can impact down here. Tornadoes are not fun. They're super dangerous. You do not want to be caught in one. They can destroy your houses, your cars. buildings. They can destroy any infrastructure that's out on the streets. So it's super scary, super dangerous. One thing they taught me was if a tornado ever happens, you go to your bathroom. So your toilet is one of the few things that is connected directly into the underground pipe system and all that. So during a tornado, usually toilets get stay to the ground. That's what I was taught by a few people that have been through tornadoes, and they lived through it, so it must have worked. So if you ever get caught in a tornado, just hug your toilet seat. Make sure it's clean first, though. And then we have rainbows. So rainbows are awesome. I love different types of colors, and we'll talk about rainbows shortly. And we also have clear skies. So that's your fair weather. So clear skies are awesome in the spring and in the fall. On summer days, not so much fun. You definitely want some clouds in the summer because it's super, super hot. And now we have different types of temperatures. So we have hot temperatures, we have warm temperatures. Those are super common in the South. That's what we're used to. I'm personally a warm-bodied person. I don't like being out in cold weather. My lips get chapped all the time and it's a pain in the butt. And then we have cold weather and freezing weather. So it'll never get freezing down here in the South, closer to upper Mississippi, upper Alabama. It can potentially get freezing. We can have lots of ice on the road. It has snowed up there. So, but on the Gulf, it's not as common. So another fun fact. Oops, let's go back to that. Another fun fact. So a rainbow is formed when sunlight hits scattered raindrops. So this picture below is a full circle rainbow, so super rare type of rainbow. There are different types of rainbow as well. So what basically happens with our rainbows is a process called refraction. So if you're at home, say this word after me, refraction. So refraction is super cool. We can use it for a lot of things, but basically what happens is white light. So imagine white light that's coming from the sun hits water droplets. So it hits these water droplets right here. And this refraction can occur with crystals. It can occur with water, anything that the light can bend through. So this white light comes through, it hits these water droplets, and then that light gets scattered, so it breaks up into different colors, and it comes at an angle. So it's coming up, or it's coming down, sorry, hits these water droplets, and then shoots out a different angle, and that white light splits up into different colors. So it's super interesting. We're gonna ask our next poll question about rainbows. Thank you very much. So, how many colors are in a rainbow? There is a set amount of colors in a rainbow. So, how many do you think there are? Awesome. So the majority of you guys voted 7 different types of colors. So you guys are absolutely right. We're going to go over those real quick. So we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue. In between blue, we have, or in between blue and violet, so we'll talk about violet in a sec, we have indigo, and then we have violet. 7 different types. So we'll go over those again. We have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. I really like the word indigo. It sounds cool. Okay, so now you know that there's 7 types of colors in the rainbow. So the water cycle. So we're gonna jump into our next poll. You guys got a sneak peek. You guys are gonna do your best to answer how many steps in a water cycle. So you can answer this the best that you can. How many stages in the water cycle? So there are a set amount of main stages. We can have little side stages. We're not going to get into those as much because it can get very, very technical. But we're going to talk about the main stages. How many main stages are there? All right, so we have a few people that said 3, we had a few people that said 4, and we had a few people that said 5. So the answer I was looking for was 3. So we have 3 main stages, okay? And then we're going to talk about those. So what is a water cycle? So the water cycle is a continuous movement of water on, above, and below the Earth's surface. It is the reason why we have rain. So we're going to look at these 3. So we have evaporation, that is when the water heats up from the sun, and that water turns into vapor and it rises into the Earth's atmosphere. Then we have condensation. That is when those water droplets accumulate and they get together. So it's not really loose vapor. It's more accumulated water droplets. Then the last stage is precipitation. So once that cloud, those water droplets get so heavy, eventually they're going to have to fall. So precipitation, that's when all the water falls back to Earth. So those are the 3 main water cycles, or the 3 main stages of a water cycle. So now we're going to talk about different types of clouds. So on the left, we have a few examples of different types of clouds. We have a lot more out there. These are just the most common ones that we see whenever you look outside. These clouds can predict weather. So according to different types of clouds, so for cirrus, if you see cirrus clouds, you'll basically see rain in the next 48 hours. That's something that they kind of like notify you. It's kind of like getting a notification on your phone that's saying, hey, it's about to rain or something like that whenever you see these cirrus clouds. They're white, feathery, and they are the highest. We have stratus clouds. These are wide blankets of gray high fogs. We have stratocumulus. These are gray low in the sky and lumpy. We have cumulus, puffy, with flat bottoms, low in the sky. We have cumulonimbus. So these are thunderstorms, look like mountains, super tall, super big. So clouds are made up of tiny water droplets or ice crystals, too tiny for the human eye to see. Now that we talked about different types of clouds, you guys can check out and look outside. Probably not today, it's super cloudy. So that's probably a cumulonimbus cloud. We have cumulonimbus clouds outside. But on other days, you can see cirrus clouds, you can see stratus clouds, you can see all these different types of clouds. And those indicate different types of weather. So, is a tornado a giant cloud? No, a tornado is a mixture of winds. Tornado is formed when warm and cold winds mix together and create a speed in one direction. So these winds are so fast that they can suction up all the clouds or all that water vapor and make it look like a giant cloud. But it is not formed from a cloud. So what is a hurricane? A hurricane is also known as a tropical cyclone, and it is a spiral of thunderstorms. So this hurricane can go anywhere from 70 miles an hour. So imagine going on the highway, 70 miles an hour, that's your typical speed limit. And they can go up to 200 miles per hour. And those are really, really catastrophic. Any hurricane in general will be really devastating to an area. So it can bring lots of rain, it can bring lots of wind, it can bring waves, it can bring storm surges. So hurricanes are never a good time. That's one of the few things that's not good for the South, because it's always, once we establish and, make the South nice, a hurricane comes through and kind of rustles it up a little bit. So it's never a good time whenever it's hurricanes. Okay, and then the last fun fact is studies show that over half our Earth is covered in clouds. That's a lot of clouds. So in this picture shows what clouds look like from outer space. So always clouds. It's always a continuous cycle. So even though it's not raining where you live, it might be raining in Wyoming. It might be snowing in New York. It might be super hot in California. And it'd be really, really humid in the South. So weather is always, always changing. It's always, always different in different parts of the world. So here in this image, you can see that there's a halo. So there's like light coming out of the earth. You guys can see where my mouse is. That is your atmosphere. So that is the Earth's atmosphere. It has different levels to it, depending on the distance it is away from the ground. And then above that, you have space. So now we're going to answer a few questions I saw in the Q&A. So can meteorologists also study outside the Earth? So typically not so much. You can be a meteorologist, but then get an emphasis on space. But typically a meteorologist's job is to study the Earth's atmosphere. So that halo that we just talked about. Can it rain with no atmosphere? I'm not 100% sure. I know there's sulfuric rain in Venus, but I'm not necessarily sure if they have a sturdy atmosphere. If we see cirrus clouds, it will be raining in 10 minutes. Okay. Didn't know that. Okay, so we're going to look at the chat real quick. Let's see if there are any more questions. I've never got caught in a tornado. That's good. You don't want to be caught in one of those. Hurricanes and tornadoes are never a good time. It's all they bring is destruction. Seen a double rainbow. Double rainbows are cool. I lived in Hawaii and there was pretty much a rainbow almost every day. It was always raining though, so that was one thing. It was always raining, and you could see rainbows really, really commonly. Double rainbows were common over there too, but typically it'll be one really bright, large rainbow, and then it'll be a kind of like dim rainbow with that. So the second rainbow isn't super bright. If you've never seen a rainbow, you can get a hose on a bright summer day, get a hose and spray it so it makes like water vapor. And you'll see a rainbow for sure. That always fascinated me whenever I was a kid. So it's a really easy activity if you guys want to do that at home. Probably not today. It's not bright enough, so you won't see anything. You'll just get wet. Thank you for teaching us. I really enjoyed it. It was awesome. I love teaching. This is something that I didn't know I had a passion for until I joined the MEC, and I've really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. There's still a lot about teaching that I don't know. My wife is a teacher, and she's always teaching me new things about teaching. So it's really cool to learn about that, and I really like teaching the younger generation, stuff that I would have liked to know, or I enjoy knowing now, and I get to teach that or show you all more about it. Can there be a triple rainbow? So yes, there can be triple rainbows, but again, the more rainbows there are, the dimmer they get. So it'll be super bright, then not so bright, and then you can barely see it. So there can be triple rainbows. I don't think I've seen a quadruple rainbow. I have seen a triple rainbow though. Super, super, super rare. Okay, so if you guys don't have any more questions, I'll wait one more minute and see if you guys have any more questions for me. If you don't, then I'll be signing off, and then we'll have another session. So we have one more session at 11. So at 11, come back, and it'll be our last session of the week. I really enjoyed me and Lacey teaching you all about biology and the worlds and everything like that. Try to convince your teachers to bring you out to the MEC, and we'll be happy to teach you about more things. We can learn about plankton, we can learn about sharks, we can learn about all these other cool things. So if you really enjoyed us, try to convince your parents or your teachers to get us involved. Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to be saying goodbye, and we'll see you all at 11. So make sure to come back at 11.
All right, it is 11:05 and looks like we've got just about everybody. So we will go ahead and get started. Just in case someone is watching and y'all don't know who we are, my name is Lacey and I'm a marine educator at the Marine Education Center. And I have been working there for about a year, and it's been really, really fun, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that we have the chance to give you guys a form of camp on this platform. So there. So I do have a helper today, and I will let him introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Riley. I'm one of the marine educators as well. I've been working there for about a year. So today I'll be helping out Lacey with like poll questions, and I'll be behind the scenes. So I'm gonna.
Okay, thanks, Riley. So since the topic today, the last day was weather, I'm going to show you guys a really cool activity to help you guys track the weather. So a really fun kind of experiment that you can do at home. So I'm going to share my screen. Oops. And so we are going to learn how to track the weather. So, Riley, if you bring up that first poll question, I'm going to ask you guys which of these is used to measure air pressure. I bet some of you didn't even know that air pressure was a thing. But if you did, that's really awesome. That means y'all are super smart. So just answer this to the best of your knowledge. You probably never even heard of a lot of these things, but just take a really good guess. Let me see where y'all are kind of. So which of these instruments is used to measure air pressure? An anemometer, a weather vane, a rain gauge, or a barometer? Again, it's okay if you don't know. That's what we're here to do. We're here to learn something new and have a little fun while doing it. Cool. Okay, so we've got some good guesses here. We've got anemometer, weather vane, and barometer. So those of you who answered barometer, y'all are correct. A barometer is what we use to measure air pressure. So let's get started and learn a little bit about what that is. So a barometer is a scientific instrument that is used to measure atmospheric pressure, which is also called barometric pressure. So that's where we get the word barometer from. So the atmosphere is layers of air wrapped around the earth, and that air has a weight, and it presses against everything it touches as gravity pulls it to earth. And so the barometers are going to measure this pressure that is being forced on, the earth and stuff like that. So atmospheric pressure is actually defined as the weight of air per surface unit. So that might be a little advanced, but you guys will learn about it one day. It's a pretty common topic, in high school and in some colleges and stuff like that, depending on obviously what your major is. But let me see, lost my place for a second. So pressure is really interesting. So around Earth, there are high pressure zones and low pressure zones that cause, certain weather phenomena that, stir up the atmosphere. So pressure is also going to be determined by how hot or how cold it is. So atmospheric pressure is an indicator of weather. So changes in the atmosphere includes changes in air pressure affect what kind of weather you're going to get. And lots of meteorologists are going to use barometers to predict short-term changes in the weather. So this is not, you can track weather for like a month or 10 days or something like that. It's going to be pretty much on a day-to-day basis. And so what happens is a rapid drop in atmospheric pressure. So when your atmospheric pressure goes down, that means a low pressure system is arriving. So low pressure means that there isn't enough force or pressure to push clouds or rain clouds or storm clouds away. So low pressure means you're going to have kind of a stormy day or at least some showers. And then those low pressure systems are going to be associated, with all those types of weather. And then a rapid increase in atmospheric pressure is going to push all of those cloudy and rainy storm clouds away. And you are likely going to have pretty clear skies, and that's going to bring in some cool, dry air. So you've got all these different types of elements of weather. So, you've got increases and decreases in pressure, you have changing temperature, you have wind speed and direction, and you also have humidity, which they're all, tools used to measure all of these things. So that's how we know, how humid it is outside. I'm pretty sure it's really humid today. So these are some examples of different types of barometers. On the far left, this is a mercury barometer. So this is the oldest type of barometer, and it was invented by an Italian physicist whose name is very complicated to announce, but I'm going to try my best. So his name was Evangelista Torricelli, I think. But his barometer used a dish of mercury, which is an element on the periodic table. And then in that tube, when pressure would be pushed down on the mercury, the mercury would go up the tube. So this tube was sealed at the top, so if it got really crazy, it just wouldn't spill out everywhere. So atmospheric pressure is increased, the mercury was forced up the tube. So as pressure got really, really, really heavy, mercury would go all the way up this tube, based on how stormy your day was going to be or how much pressure was in the air. So another type of barometer is the aneroid barometer, which has which is this guy right here. Let me point this out. This is a Navy seaman measuring the pressure on this aneroid barometer. But this is in a sealed metal chamber that expands and contracts depending on the pressure. So many of these aneroid barometers have circular displays, so you kind of read it like a clock. So not very different, just kind of built. It doesn't work differently, but it's built differently. And then you have digital barometers that measure and show us really complex, complicated atmospheric data. So, what's going on in your sky. And it is going to be way more accurate and really, really fast readings than any of these two that we discussed. So this is the activity that is going to be associated with our meteorology lesson. And this is us creating, our DIY barometers. So you'll need some materials that you likely have at home. So you'll need a clear bottle with a long narrow neck, such as this ketchup bottle right here. So if you just have a ketchup bottle that's near empty, you can just clean it out. And then you'll need a large drinking glass, a ruler, and a permanent marker to make these going on right here. So not only can you make a barometer, I made a barometer, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. But you can make these really fun homemade things too that you likely have sitting around the house. So you can make a homemade anemometer, and this device measures how fast wind is blowing. So it would be this guy right here on the far right. And to figure out just how fast your wind is blowing, you're going to have to do some math with it. But this type of math actually can be really cool because you're figuring out something in real time. So if you've got your anemometer and it's spinning really, really fast, you can do some interesting, not too complicated math, even though, sometimes math is no fun. I think it would be really interesting in this case, in this scenario. I found this experiment through National Geographic, so you can just kind of look up DIY anemometer, Nat Geo, for some really, really fun, really easy instructions, and you can find that formula on how to calculate your wind speed. And so next, the other thing is a homemade weather vane. So this is going to tell you the direction of the wind. And really all you do is, you have a pencil and a pen through a straw. So the pen through the straw allows your weather vane to spin in circles, depending on, which direction your wind is blowing. And then they have a paper plate and it just has north, south, east, and west on it. And then you just set it outside on a windy day and you can tell which direction your wind is coming from, which is super easy project to do if you're curious and you think it would be really interesting on a windy day. And then lastly, you can build a homemade rain gauge, which is this guy right here on the far left. So a rain gauge tells you how many centimeters or inches of rain fell during a shower or a thunderstorm. And it's really easy. This person just took a slender old bottle. So has to be something kind of smaller, kind of skinnier. A big, jar probably wouldn't give you an accurate measurement. So the smaller your bottle is or your container is, the more accurate that measurement is going to be. And they just marked it every they have 1 centimeter mark, 10, 15, 20 centimeters. So they just marked it every 5 or so centimeters to tell how much rain that day, or how much it rained that day. So this is also super easy. I mean, we probably all have a spare water bottle sitting around. So this would be really interesting to make. And if you make all of these, you can actually figure out every piece of data during a thunderstorm, which would be really neat. So all of these I found just kind of Googling around, and Nat Geo also has, great instructions on a couple of these as well. And again, you probably have all of these materials just sitting at home waiting to be used for something really, really fun and not just trash. So here are some instructions on our weather predicting activity. So you are going to take that long necked bottle, that ketchup bottle, and you are going to make a mark every 2 centimeters. So for an example, this is mine that I made. And you can see I have my marks every couple of centimeters. And so this is not a ketchup bottle. This was an old hot sauce bottle that I used because I didn't have a ketchup bottle, but I made it work. It's the same, kind of the same thing. But you are going to mark it every 2 centimeters going all the way to the top of the bottle. So up to the lid. And then you're going to turn that bottle upside down and then mark the number starting with 1 at the actual top. So when the bottle's upside down, the top's on the bottom. So you got to start at the top, which is on the bottom, and then mark all the way up. So you just start 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to, however high you go. So mine ended at 9. And then you're going to fill up that ketchup bottle, the hot sauce bottle, whatever you use, about halfway up with water. And then you're going to place a glass, so a mason jar, a drinking glass, whatever you have, on top of that bottle, whatever bottle you used and whatever bottle you marked with. And then you're going to really quickly flip that bottle upside down so that the water fills into the jar, into the glass, and then there is still going to be some water inside that ketchup bottle or whatever bottle you use. So the water level inside the ketchup bottle should be higher than the level in the glass or around it. And so if this doesn't happen, just fill it up a little bit more and do it again. It's not a big deal. Just kind of do it until you get to that point. So mine is way up high. So here's the level inside my bottle and here's the level inside my mason jar. So really, really easy to make. And all you do is to do your experiment, you just set this, in a window, a place, where it's not likely to get knocked over. And you record, the weather conditions. So if I were to record today, I would say it was overcast, and then I would check the temperature and humidity. I would mark what day it was. So the date. And then you just check and see what level your water is at inside of your jar. So, if it's a sunny day, you mark it as a sunny day. There's not many clouds in the sky. And my water level is at 7. So I built this a couple of weeks back, right before the tropical storm we recently had came through. And the level, it started at the level that it's at now. So right now it's back to normal, even though it's kind of a dreary day. So it's sitting right above the 7 mark. And when that storm rolled through, obviously, storm was coming. That means pressure was decreasing. So there wasn't much pressure in the air to force those clouds away. And so it dropped way below the 7, almost to the 6 mark. So it's really, really fun way to tell just how much the pressure in the atmosphere is changing. And so after the storm was done, it went back to normal. It went back to where it was now. So you can feel that pressure went back up and pushed all those storm clouds away. So it's a really, really fun way to measure your weather. You can do this for a week, see how much it changes. If you're going to have a really stormy week, or you're going to have one day where it's likely to thunderstorm, that would be a really, really cool opportunity. So I think this would be a really fun experiment to kind of be your own little meteorologist. And you can even, give little weather forecasts to your family. Well, the barometer went down 1 centimeter today, so it's likely to rain, or, you can just have fun with it. But you can track it using something like this. So this is our barometer analysis worksheet. So if you want to copy this down on a piece of paper, or if you want to take a picture of it with a phone, then you can totally do that. But, on here, it has the date, what the barometer is reading at, the weather outside, and other observations. Is it partly cloudy? Is it partly sunny? Is it really hot? Is it really humid? And then at the end of the day, you can mark your change in barometer measurement. So if it stays the same, that means your weather was consistent pretty much all day. And then you can do this for however long you want, a week, 2 weeks, a month, however long. It's a really, really cool experiment. And I thought it would be really neat to share with you guys. So that is kind of everything I have today. It was not a very long lesson, so I apologize if you were looking forward to something long. But what you can do is when you do all of these really fun activities that we showed you this week, you can take pictures of, what you saw. So if you went birding, or if you go birding again and you took pictures of the birds that you saw, you can totally email them to us, and just so we know that you guys are really enjoying, camp, and that you just really got the most out of it. So if you went birding, if you took pictures of your pollinators, or if you saw pretty flowers with a bee on it, or you build your own barometer, if you build your own biosphere, let us know that you really, really enjoyed all of these really fun activities and all of these really cool lessons. But if you guys have any questions about meteorology or anything we talked about all week long, then we will totally answer those now. If you guys have anything really fun to say, if you want to tell us something you enjoyed, most of all, then you can totally put that in the chat or in the Q&A. So can you show the other experiment again? Which experiment exactly? So if you tell me which experiment, I'll let you know. All right, well, while I wait on your response, what is your email so we can email? So this is our email right here. It's marine.education@usm.edu. So it's this top one right here. Or if you don't want to email or don't have email, you can totally send them through private messaging. But email is probably going to be the best option. So it is marine.education@usm.edu. All right. Thank you, Kinsey says, thank you for teaching us. I have really enjoyed it. I'm really glad you enjoyed it, because we really enjoyed getting able to do this for you guys. We're really sad when summer camp got canceled this year. So we're really happy to at least give you guys something to do while you're stuck in the house. I really enjoyed the ketchup bottle one. Yeah, this one was really fun to make. Super easy, but super cool. So you get lots of really neat results with this one. If you guys have any other questions about anything all week long, birds, bugs, the rubber egg, anything. Meteorology, plants. Or if you have questions about, marine biology, or, how, if you're wondering how to do something with marine biology, you can totally ask me and Riley questions, because we would be very happy to answer those. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Like I said, we're really, really happy that you guys got to come on and watch with us, and hopefully do these really fun experiments with us. All right, if you guys don't have any more meteorology questions, barometer questions. One of my favorite lessons was about the different biomes. That was my favorite lesson too, I think. That was the really, really fun one that I could have talked about for hours and hours. So I'm really glad you enjoyed that one. That one was fun. All right, well, if you guys don't have anything else, we're gonna end this week of camp a little early, but it'll give you guys some time to build your barometers and build everything that we kind of what we gave you guys this week. So I really hope you guys had fun this week. I had fun teaching you guys. I know Riley had fun also. And hopefully we will see you in person at camp. But if not, we would love to do this for you guys again, because we thought it was really fun. So I guess we'll log off. Bye, guys.